It's time for our Math During COVID-19 Q&A session with Dr. Lena Shanley, University of Oregon, Dr. Mari Strand-Carey, University of Oregon, Matt Newpin, Benetech Labs, and our moderator, Dr. Lisa Waters, Benetech.
Hi, everyone, and big thank yous to all of our presenters, Mari, Lina, and Matt. We really appreciate the knowledge that you shared with us today. I've gotten a lot of really great feedback from people already saying these are tools that they want to use in their classrooms right away. We have a lot of questions, and we'll try to see what we can get through, but many of the questions I think I'm going to throw out to the entire panel rather than specific to the individual tool. One of the biggest questions, and I think something that would be helpful for people who are on the call right now to understand is, how are people using your products during COVID? How are they using them from home, and who's using them?
I can go ahead and start that if you'd like. With KinderTech, there are two versions. So one version can just be used by anybody who has an iPad, and it doesn't need Wi-Fi or anything like that. So we have families all over the US and even in some other countries that have downloaded that and are using that at home. They were using it before COVID just for car trips and just for distraction for kids. Now some of them are using it for some extra supplemental learning. The other version is the one we've been using in our research, and we have opened that up because of COVID. We've taken the leap and put that out into the real world so that teachers in schools who are already using KinderTech have now been able to invite their parents who have iPads to have their students continue using the same account, using that at home. And then schools and teachers who want their kids to start using it at home have been able to set up accounts and have kids use it from the start at home. So we kind of have a mix of things going, and so far that's going well. We do have the iPad restriction. You have to have an iPad to make this work, but if that hurdle is cleared, then we're finding great success with that.
Yeah, I just hop on and echo Mari's comments. Numbershire is very similar. Our users are we have an app that people use sort of independently on their iPad. And then the hosted sort of integrated tutor system feature that we had teachers using in the past, and then some that have signed up and have onboarded their classes and are using it. And one thing I would say is that what's been really encouraging to us is the positive feedback we've received, especially from teachers who were using it in the past and now are using it in this completely remote context. And they're so appreciative of all the data that they can, look at, and, they can actually feel like they can see what their kids are doing. Whereas, in a sort of traditional school in-person context, they maybe felt like they didn't have a lot of time, or they were getting those data, from their students in person themselves, So now I think they're really appreciative of all the features and really feeling good about being able to leverage those and support kids, even in this distance context. So that's encouraging for us.
Great.
And for MathShare, a big part of it has been educators doing a lot of what they were doing for the one-on-one, now just simply through the remote, so they can still take they're getting the worksheets from the teachers, and then they can just modify it with MathShare and then send that out to their students. And parents are doing the same thing as well, so they can, help their kids there at home.
Wonderful. We've had a lot of questions about, what is the age range that you actually support? And I know that all three of you are very different in the products, but could you talk a little bit about maybe the age range and maybe the type of math that's covered? So Matt, for example, can you only use MathShare for algebra? Or are there ways to use MathShare for other things as well?
It can be used in other things, but our target area right now is for algebra. So it's primarily right now for grades 4 through 9. But it can be used in geometry. It can be used in other subjects and higher up, as well as all the way down to like 3rd grade. If it's kind of like more for your algebraic equations, then it works out great if you just kind of need to do that step by step as you're working through it. But we've also kind of heard of like it being used in other subject areas that need to do math. It's just more of the, whenever they need to focus on how am I going to solve the problem step by step. So it works out great in other subjects like chemistry and physics.
And for KinderTech, it's kindergarten level content, but really there are no age restrictions. So we find pre-K through grade 3 is kind of the place we most expect it to be used. Obviously, adults would probably get tired of the cartoon characters at some point, but we did try really hard to not make it feel babyish because we did want it to be used by a range of students and not feel like it was oh, this is just something that only little kids use, right? So we built that in, but the content is what's constraining use more than anything. So it's kindergarten level content that could be used as a preparation tool for preschoolers or as an intervention for much older students.
And once again, very similar for Numbershire. So it's first grade math content, but if you were eagle eye in my presentation, you might have seen that there are actually some kindergarten standards that are also taught just to make sure that kids get the prerequisites they need. So majority is the first grade is the content that's the target, but it kind of goes both ways. And any kids that are working on first grade math standards, I think would enjoy the game. It's clever and there's a lot of jokes and the characters are very engaging. So older kids that have used the program like it as well.
Are there any geographical limitations? I know a number of questions came through asking, can people in Canada also use these products?
So for Numbershire, no limitations. There's a web-based version and also the app version. So if you have access to the Apple App Store, you can download the app. And if you go to our website, there's more information about the different versions that are available and how to access them, but the web-based version is accessible to anyone. So, and you just need to contact us to get access to that because it's still sort of in research production. So.
Great.
And for KinderTech, we are on the App Store. So if it's flagged to be released in other countries, it can be. If you're in another country and you want it, let us know and we can see what the hoops are to jump through to unlock it for you. I think generally, and this might apply to Numbershire as well, in some cases, the data flow and data storage is some of the issue. So across international borders can be an issue for the Pro version for us. And so we just have to look into what is required. But I do know we have Canadian users right now. So that at least that hurdle has been cleared.
Since MathShare is a web-based app, it's available to anybody. There's no restrictions based on country. It does have some, most of the problems are whatever you type for whatever the language is. But we don't have localized versions at this time for MathShare. So it would just be in English for the parts that are built in.
Great. And a lot of people have asked also, or have commented how great these products seem, but they wonder, are there supports for teachers? What kind of documentation or what kind of supports have been built into each of these products or supplemental to these products to help teachers learn how to use this technology and also how to use it with their students?
I'll go first for MathShare. We have a help center that's built in the top menu bar. And so that we're always kind of adding to. We have a professional development pack available as well that has pre-made slides and handouts for teachers. And then we also have a number of different videos that are focused on specific actions for teachers as well as for students.
For KinderTech, it's kind of some of those same types of options. We have a huge resource center on our website that has things organized kind of like from start to finish and also by different types of user groups. And the types of things on there are quick little tutorials about things you might be trying to do, quick start guides, needs and readiness inventories, videos you can show your kids before they start so that you don't have to explain this thing. It'll explain it for them and give them a brief overview and show them how to do things. And then we do have some structured professional development as well. So if a principal or something wanted all their teachers just make sure they got a little bit of everything, they could sign up for the structured professional development. It has embedded kind of knowledge checks and things like that along the way. So there's pretty much anything you could need to get you started on there. And we've really found our teachers are most enthusiastic about the on-demand situation. So I have a question right now. I want to solve it. Let me go find a resource or let me enter the live chat, send an email, whatever. We're kind of standing by to help people as they need it. We found that more successful than a lot of upfront training because people don't know what they're going to need until later.
Do you want to ask another question or would you like me to answer, Lisa?
No, Lina, do you want to finish answering this question? This is probably our last question. So yeah, I'll throw that up.
Okay. Yeah. So similar, we have resources in the resource center, an implementation manual that, has sort of all the information you could ever need. But like Mari said, we found similarly that it's helpful for people to get on-demand help and small bits and actually throughout. So we've also developed newsletters that we send out to teachers who are using the product and subscribe on a weekly basis, where we sort of remind them about features that could be timely, especially based on the amount of time they've used it. And again, how to access the dashboard and different features that to sort of highlight, so that it's not this deluge of information at the beginning, but bits and pieces to support. And I think it's pretty, kids are able to use it pretty self-sufficiently. So there's not a lot that's needed to get them started. And then once they start to accumulate data, then the supports and the dashboard become a little bit more relevant, I think.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate you sharing with us today and sharing with the rest of the participants on the call as well. If your question was not answered, please feel free to reach out to our presenters directly and see if they can answer your questions as well. We really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks, everyone.